Welcome to Anything Cricket, Let's Talk. We're broadcasting from the studios of the Caribbean Media Corporation, Bridgetown, Barbados. In today's episode, our special guest is Stephen Leslie, Director of Cricket with the Barbados Cricket Association. And he'll be talking about an upcoming party. Well, yes, partying and cricket, they tend to go together. And we're talking about the upcoming Kaduma Cup. Wayne Holder will be with us as well. I'm Philip Hackett, and you're watching Anything Cricket. Let's talk.
Carib Vision is now included in the OneSpot Media subscription package. It's simple. Search for onespotmedia.com, then log in, scroll over to the Live TV and Radio tab, and select CVTV from the drop-down menu, and watch the latest in Caribbean culture, news, and sports. It's that simple. Carib Vision is now on OneSpot Media. Subscribe today.
onespotmedia.com.
Gentlemen, it's interesting to note the connection for the upcoming season between the big festival in Barbados and a new concept in local cricket, the Kaduma Cup. Welcome to Anything Cricket, Let's Talk, Stephen.
Thanks for having me. It's a new concept, like you said. We are at the Barbados Cricket Association embarking upon a project that would allow us, in the first instance, to semi-professionalize cricket in Barbados. People love to use the word professional, but one must be honest and recognize that there are some elements that may not be present within the context of what we will be able to execute, hopefully, over the next few weeks. And I said that against the backdrop that we are operating within a financial climate that one must be working with the realities that backroom staff, as an example, when you look at what happens in some of the major franchises across the world, you would have a coach and maybe another 5 or 6 persons. We are starting with a backroom staff of 3 individuals. We have a coach, we have a manager, and we have somebody assigned as a scorer. We hope as time goes on, this first year being one that we want to be able to attract as many people to Kensington Road as we can. We want an opportunity to be able to give everyone really a brand of cricket that is attractive. And that will start with the selection of 6 franchise captains, 6 teams, and then we bring everyone to Kensington Oval, and we're hoping to start that tournament on the 17th of April this year.
No, you're saying we, and you're talking professional or semi-professional cricket, and when people hear that, they would probably think we're talking regional cricket. But of course, we're talking about our local domestic cricket here in Barbados.
Yes, we are. One of the things that we wanted to do certainly is to allow more West Indian opportunities to be presented to these Barbadian cricketers. If we look at what's happened at the test level, Barbados has had a reasonable number of players in the West Indies test side. The similar situation applies for those in the 50 over. But in recent years, we've had 1 and sometimes 0 persons in the T20 franchise, T20 setup for West Indies. So what we're hoping to do is be able to get these opportunities open to showcase the talent that's available, and most importantly, get persons into the West Indies T20 squad and be able to form a competitive unit that be able to not only be tackling the best in international T20s, but be able to get West Indies a consistency that we are all proud of in the Caribbean.
When the regional T20 competition was out of the hands, so to speak, of the Cricket West Indies, it caused some concern. And I would think that the high profile that one would expect for this tournament could in some ways make up for that without contravening any of the agreements regarding regional cricket, because it's basically a domestic competition, but if it's well promoted, then it would have a great impact.
Yeah, I totally agree. One of the realities that we would have had when there was the Caribbean T20 is that there were a number of islands that were exposed. So we saw persons from Montserrat, Antigua, right through the chain of Caribbean islands being able to mix and be able to showcase not only their talent, but really be exposed. There's so many players that we can call that got opportunities at the West Indies level through that Caribbean T20. In recent years, however, the CPL now brings a different dynamic to it, where you've got franchise teams with particular captains nominated at a particular earlier part of the season, and really the opportunity for islands to showcase that wide range of players is no longer present.
Yeah, and you get, you've heard players complain, really, and we've actually seen where players have done very well in the domestic T20 competition. I go back as far as going back to the case that jumps up most at me. I remember Jonathan Carter's brother, David Carter, scoring, I think it was 2 centuries in the domestic T20 competition, and that was it. Never any real probability or possibility of going further because the system just wasn't there.
Yep, and this is what we're attempting to do. Once we do this well in Barbados, we'll give the impetus for persons not just like David Carter, but there's so many other young players that we've got in Barbados who otherwise will not have an opportunity when CPL comes around. And CPL's arrangement within the fine print has been well debated in the Caribbean. One of the things that we want to achieve at the Barbados Cricket Association is exposure of our talent. Exposure of our talent will, in the first instance, be 6 franchise teams. Those squad members will go into those 6 squads, and everyone will have an opportunity to see a lot of the talent that exists in Barbados.
I heard Wayne Holder was a pretty good wicketkeeper in his day. I don't know if this tournament there would influence you to make a comeback.
Well, definitely not. I still nowadays think I would rather thrive in the area of ball-by-ball commentary and description. If I were to get such an opportunity, I'd be very, very happy. As a matter of fact, Stephen, my first question for you, you mentioned about showcasing the young talent, and I would want to know what medium or what media are you proposing to take the message of Barbados T20 cricket to the wider Caribbean and indeed even further afield?
Well, it'll be important to explain the process. We're going to have a draft process. So there will be 6 captains along with the team manager. They will sit along with the captain, coach, manager, and they will then pull together from their draft pool. We have in excess of 250 players who have applied through the process. And once we put those persons into the 6 squads with the marquee players, as you know, in every franchise there has to be a marquee player identified, and we will then have those individuals deployed to 6 venues in Barbados as a lead up in terms of their training sessions. So they will be training leading into the tournament. And one of the things that we've placed as mandatory as well is in the lead up to the actual first set of the game, there'll be a minimum of 2 or 3 matches that teams can get an idea of their combinations that they want to use, because it's okay to have names in the squad. You want to know who's going to be your pinch hitters. You want to know who you're going to use at the top. So we're going to have that process, training through practice matches, then we go right into the actual games. Now, showcasing the talent, as you said, Wayne, is very critical, meaning that there will be lead up. Every match there will be like a head-to-head, what you will consider interviews then, so that you will not only speak to the captains, but you will speak to some of the marquee players and the leading performers in the squad, and asking what they think about the particular game that's going to come up. And every encounter has to be embellished to a point that it is exciting, because sometimes what happens in a lot of our regional T20 franchises is that maybe mid-season you have an idea who the first 2 teams are going to be. Some rubbers or games are not really that important. So we're going to try to make every game and lead up to those games very important. The intent is to play games on Friday nights at Kensington Oval, and then have a double-header on Sundays. And what is very important about that is that it affords those players in the draft the opportunity to not only be playing those every week, once a week, but then there's something that the BC has also considered very strongly, and we are having it discussed at the board level, is that the players who traditionally play local T20 cricket who don't make it into the franchise squads, they're going to still have our domestic T20 tournament to play, which should be held on Saturdays. So you can imagine on a weekend, the 6 squads playing on Friday nights, double headers on Sundays, and then you've got the players who've not made the franchise squads also still playing T20 cricket on Saturdays. So we haven't left anyone behind, but what we're going to be doing is to try to pull together what we believe are the best talent that we have for the T20 version in that format and be able to let them really showcase. And there will be one or two people who will come on board. We are considering live streaming of all the games. We're looking at live ball-by-ball commentary. So all of those things are in the mix, and hopefully we'll be able to have a product that everybody's very proud about.
Yes, I would want to suggest, though, that live streaming is essential because to restrict it to a strictly Barbadian audience, I don't think that will be actually supporting the cause and the idea. So I would want to suggest that it is vital that there be live streaming so that persons outside of Barbados may be able to get in on whatever action is happening here on the island. T20 cricket and the party. You know, there's a word that I haven't heard since we've been having this discussion. The name of the tournament.
Yes, one of the things that we're unable to do at this point is to make a public announcement. The names of the teams, the name of the tournament, that's all with the BCA Board of Directors. They're deliberating on it. Even the names of the captains, we are unable to announce at this point. But all that information is with the board. The board is going to hopefully very shortly be able to say, okay, it's time that we can release it. And trust me, we will be hopefully bringing together a package that allows a really good tournament name, 6 well put together franchises, captains that attract people to the ground. And you know, in Barbados, we've got persons who've got their favorite cricketers. There are a lot of other T20 competitions that go around. Once we can get those people actually on Instagram, on social media, on Facebook, then persons can start to like and to have their hits and really build a momentum going into the tournament. And all those things we really want to be able to make a reality in very short order.
I don't necessarily want to get into your pocket, although your pocket may be deep. But financing, this sounds like a really tough exercise, especially at these times.
Yes, it is. And I think that the directors certainly looked at the realities that maybe in the first year we would not have the luxury of having owners for each of the franchises. So our central budget would have to finance it. The quantum, again, that is something that cannot be released publicly at this point, but certainly is something that will be something that allows the BCA, when placing these finances in the different areas that we have to place it, really looking at the return on the value, because there's a development imperative, gentlemen, that must happen in my judgment in any competition you hold. It's okay to have a competition where people come and enjoy themselves and there's entertainment value. But what do we do for those emerging cricketers, certainly who may not be household names right now? How do we build them in? So I'll give you one component of what is going to be mandatory. After the squads are selected, we're going to look outside of that group and apportion to each franchise a group of about 5 players, which we will consider players that are development players for the particular franchise. Those gentlemen will work with those teams in the lead up to the tournament. They will also be allowed the opportunity to be at the games and be able to see what really happens in real time in terms of when you're making those real critical decisions in a T20 game. So the development component will not just be those 6 squads of players that we hear. There'll be some under 17, under 19 cricketers, some under 23 cricketers, for example, who may not make it into the actual franchises, but they will be working with the franchises. A gentleman likes to bring this concept of calling them net bowlers. I don't call them net bowlers. They will be guys who will be very well skilled in their particular art that may not have made the squad. That will be part and parcel of it. And that was part of the development imperative that the BCA will want to incorporate in this first year.
But is there provision, though, in the event that at training, for example, the management of the team is very impressed? Is there provision for any of those guys to actually play again if selected?
Well, it will be restricted to those who are selected, barring injury. Injury, there will be an opportunity for replacement of injury, or if there's some other circumstance that's beyond the control, and maybe a family emergency or whatever. God forbid that we don't want that. But really, it will be for those people who are actually selected, and those other guys who are with the team will be getting that opportunity to build their skill, be able to understand what it is to be in a semi-professional setup, and be able really to see, I know the attraction, and nobody can deny this, is the stipend that we will be offering the players.
Would the development players get a stipend as well?
We're working through those details, but certainly that's the attraction. Everyone knows from his many years of working as a cricket administrator as well, that once a person knows that there's a good bounty, a good prize money, and then you send it to an individual having the opportunity to make some cash, this is the realities that we face. And I believe that despite understanding that there is a stipend, there's a concept that I like to share with persons all the time. You can't throw money at something to make it good. You can throw money at it and you might get certain results. You must have the infrastructure that allows that when the money is spent, that you really get the fruits of your labor coming through. And I believe strongly that once we do this correctly at the Barbados Cricket Association this first year, that there will be an attraction that a lot of people will not only want to invest, but there will be a situation where persons realize that this is a tournament that could be a marquee tournament in the Caribbean. I mean, outside the CPL, it could be the Kaduma Cup, which is being played in Barbados, and that's what we're hoping to do. This year, for example, we've not ventured into having an overseas player. We want to keep it as much as local base or local players, people who play, like, for example, Kevin Hodge, having not revealed who's going to get selected, but Kevin Hodge has been playing at the university for the last 5 or 6 years. He's eligible to be selected into one draft, and he's Dominican, as you'll be aware. Yeah. And this is the sort of thing we want to encourage. But certainly we won't be able to bring Riyad Emirates or Kiwan Pollard, those gentlemen who have not played local cricket. We will keep it to the Kevin Hodges and those people.
Didn't Emirates play just a bit some time back, or?
I think he might have come in.
A long time ago, Riyad Emirates would have represented Maple in domestic competition.
So what really is the line drawn, really? What determines if a person is eligible or not?
2019, all our registrations that we've had in 2019, that group of individuals will be where we have our starting point.
Interesting indeed. But we're going to take a short break, and then we'll be back on Anything Cricket. Let's talk.
Carib Vision is now included in the OneSpot Media subscription package. It's simple. Search for onespotmedia.com, then log in, scroll over to the Live TV and Radio tab, and select CVTV from the drop-down menu, and watch the latest in Caribbean culture, news, and sports. It's that simple. Carib Vision is now on OneSpot Media. Subscribe today. onespotmedia.com.
So, the local players have got quite a bit to look forward to in terms of the new structure of the T20. I think playing under lights too, that's not going to be a bad thing, because you do have regional cricket under lights as well. And of course, international cricket has already come to the Caribbean under lights. So that should be a pretty good experience, for some of the youngsters.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, just about 5 years ago, there was a lot of discussion about players only being exposed to playing on the lights when they reach the playoff stage of our local domestic competitions. Now, it is critical, as you would appreciate, that playing on the lights becomes part of the makeup of a T20 cricketer, because most of the entertainment value that comes with T20 cricket is played in the evenings. Yeah. So this competition would afford the opportunity to most of the players to play on the lights, and not only in pristine conditions at Kensington. We are also looking at the opportunities for 1 or 2 practice sessions, maybe at the 3Ws Oval, depending on how the schedule allows. But what is very critical is that we need to have a product that when they get into that franchise or to the West Indies T20 side, that they're not shocked. They're not shocked. They're not now learning. And I marvel at when I look at a lot of the cricket that's played around the world, and they're playing in all different regions, some regions that we never thought cricket would have really been established. Persons have racked up 100 T20 games, maybe playing 3 or 4 franchise.
Some 500.
Some 500, all West Indian, people on Pollard has done that. Yeah. But any opportunity to really give these young men a platform to really show. I remember there's a MPC player, I wouldn't want to call his name, who was really aggressive at the top of the order. He's a guy from within the community, and strongly built young man. And when you see a guy like him, if he's successful in being drafted, the world is going to say, where is he headed? Where is he? And that's what we want. We want persons like that to be able to show that. I think we have some really good death bowlers, guys who can really come in at the late part of the innings. those talented players will be showcased as well. Some very strong hitters of the ball.
And based on recent events, you would think that the West Indies selectors would be very happy to have a look at some death bowlers.
Yeah.
We don't need to respond to that.
We need all the help we can get in different components of the game, but certainly, definitely, we got to showcase what we do have, and I think that the Kaduma Cup will provide that platform.
You know, Wayne, you're reluctant to put back on the pads and the gloves, but surely there must be something that would persuade you, other than commentary, to come out to the game.
Well, what I wanted to get to Stephen about, wherever T20 franchise cricket in particular has been introduced, there has always been that aspect of bringing a new audience to cricket. And the sideshow, the entertainment side of things.
I knew there was something that would get him out.
Has always has been used to target this new audience. And I would want to ask Stephen, is that part of the intention of the Barbados Cricket Association with this tournament, to engage a brand new audience, those persons who are not necessarily cricket people, but for whom the glitz, the glamour, the entertainment value, to quote your own word, would be an attraction?
To summarize his question, he wants to know if you're going to have the ladies dancing and so on for his entertainment.
Well, we have a marketing committee that is working very assiduously trying to pull together a package that will not only bring the entertainment value that you're speaking about. This particular committee has a very wide range group of persons with a lot of experience. It's led by our vice president, Calvin Hope, and they have very deliberately been ticking the boxes. We know that dancing girls, we know that music, we know that opportunities for fans.
They'll be ticking those boxes.
Carefully, because again, there are financial implications to everything. So what I'm saying is that they already have a layout plan of what they know will bring proper value to the entertainment side of it. But you're going to match that against the possible costs, how you were able to manage those costs. And I can safely say that that group of persons, I believe that they meet again next week, Monday, will be able then to send to the board their final, we are considered dossier of things that we want to do. And Wayne, you won't be disappointed. I am sure that if you don't get all of the dancing girls this year, you'll probably get some type of entertainment that allows you to look forward to what happens next year. Because this project, and when people really watch how it unfolds, is one that could be very carefully managed, or you can get it, or it could get out of hand. If you get out of hand and you're having music and dance and girls and entertainment, the very plastic buys, the gabbies, I mean, they're talking about some household names coming into the package, it can make your costs go like this. Again, then the cricket, which is critical, and the entertainment that the persons who don't even want to watch the cricket want to see, they have to realize that that part is critical, but also what you do with the cricket. So that's being managed carefully. The marketing committee is doing their job. The cricket committee also does what they have to do relevant to what we believe are the ingredients to make the best possible, get value for money, as the old people will say. And I think that once those two committees come together and send the information as we have, in the most part, to the board will make those decisions that don't allow us to operate in a financial climate that is crazy.
Well, Philip has tried to identify me personally, but I would want to say that I do represent a very wide constituency in that area of the seeking that entertainment value. But in the meantime, though, have you been able to attract any sponsors or any?
Again, the marketing committee has indicated that there are some persons who they're companies, I should say, and individuals who have expressed and they've been actively engaging them. We're not in a position to highlight who these companies or individuals are, but I can tell you certainly that the interest is there. And once we do it well, I believe the first time, there will be an increase in that interest. And come next year, you might hear that there are 6 owners. They may be asking Wayne or Philip to come and do some special consultancy services in one way or the other. Because, for example, this year the BCA owns this competition. The BCA can review and determine who the captains are, can determine how the backroom staff is constructed. Who knows? in year number 2, if you get owners, you have to realize that there's a bit of leverage you must give to the owners. They determine who their backroom staff is. They determine who their captain is, who their marquee players are. So these are the things that are the realities in franchise cricket that we at the BCA are fully aware of.
Stephen, the T20 competition you described pretty much starts the season. But, there's a lot more to the cricket season outside of the T20s, both the new T20 competition you're talking about and the one that we already have that will be played on Saturdays. What other plans, what other exciting plans, if any, are there for the other aspect of the season, the 3-day competition, the 50-over competition, and anything else you may have on the radar?
Well, what we're doing is we're maintaining the model that would have been incorporated immediately after I joined the Barbados Cricket Association back in November 2015. We are playing a lot of our white ball cricket up front. So to keep it very simple, the T20 franchise that we were discussing will be at the pretty much beginning of the tournament. The T20 tournament for those players who have not made the franchise team will also be playing. And then we have the T20 Shield. The T20 Shield tournament are for those clubs and schools who are in our lower divisions, from the intermediate down to the schools division. And these guys are going to be basically from the middle of April on the fields of Barbados playing. We go into the first week of May. So as we reach week of May, the traditional red ball cricket starts, which is our intermediate division, second division, and the schools competition that will be playing pretty much on Saturdays. So you've got the white ball cricket up front. We have then the red ball cricket, which starts in the first week in May. And then we go into the Shield 40-over tournament, which again is a limited overs tournament for those clubs who operate from the intermediate into the schools divisions. And then it will culminate with our Super 50. Our Super 50 tournament now is for the elite and Division 1 clubs. That is going to be happening in the month of July. And then the big one, I know this is where Philip and both Wayne and most of his namesake Keith believe that the elite Division 3-day red ball cricket tournament, we're hoping to have that started in the month of August this year. Previously, we did it in July, but because of the scheduling matters that we have with this new competition, that is earmarked to start in August, and it will all be completed. 9 series of elite matches, 9 series of Division 1 matches starting in August, culminate in the first week of December. So we will have a champion. We know that Spartan, for example, is still celebrating their 3-day win. We've had the promotion, as you know, of the YMPC club into the elite. So we're really looking forward to an exciting season, which is keeping in line with the model that we've used in the last 4 years.
As people watch and listen to this discussion, I'm sure some of them will be wondering how the current health crisis, so to speak, could impact. And I would be very surprised if your board members have not been given this some thought, and maybe it may require looking at a plan B, a plan C, or something of that nature. What plans, or I should say, what consideration has been given, if any, to the possibility of some disruption?
Well, Barbados is not in a bubble by itself. We're in a global community, and the realities are that we will respond to what if and when this pandemic comes close to our shores, reaches our shores, to what the government of Barbados actually directs us to do. Certainly, we've seen the cancellation of a number of international sporting events, gatherings of large groups of people. These are realities that we've seen in maybe the last 2.5 to 3 weeks. But what we at the Barbados Cricket Association are doing, we will be guided, certainly, by what the government of Barbados asks for us to do. We operate within a framework of optimism. The optimism is that we've got a project. We want this project to be a success, and we want to expose these cricketers and their number of supporters, their families, to really a good brand of T20 cricket in Barbados. But we will respond to whatever global impact comes into the factors before our tournament. And one thing I will say, you asked if it was a plan B or a plan C. The realities are that Barbados, every weekend, when we do our organized cricket, would parade at least 1,000 male cricketers and female cricketers in Barbados. So every given Saturday, Wayne and Philip, there are at least 1,000 people. And they are organized matches from the month of April to December. We take it for granted in Barbados. This is, for me and for the Barbados Cricket Association, a phenomenal thing that we do. Sometimes we don't have everything perfectly in place, but we play organized cricket. It comes from the schools division, the clubs division, and we're really proud of what we've been able to achieve. And in terms of the number of games that play between April and December, can you guys hazard a guess how many games are played? I told you about 1,000 players. How many games do you believe?
Between April and December?
Yep. All the divisions.
Then is a mathematician on the team.
But this is not math whatsoever.
Gentlemen, it is about 1,200 matches that we play in Barbados every year.
1,200.
Organized matches, not food games. Organized. You know, we've got our seniors, masters cricket. We've got so much dynamic competitions. The under 13 clubs competition that play in addition to those 1,200 games organized by the Barbados Cricket Association on an annual basis.
That's certainly a lot of cricket.
Any new features though that the cricket fans and then those not so inclined towards cricket can look forward to? For instance, I mentioned that in the light of a recent announcement, a cooperation between the Barbados Cricket Association and the Commonwealth Secretariat. And I'm understanding that the BCA is thinking of branding the 2020 season as Cricket for Peace. Can you give us some insight into that development?
I will respond initially by saying that your information sounds very reliable. I believe that not only are those things that you did say being considered, but the board is very much the policy-making body of the Barbados Cricket Association, how we organize it. What the board has done is not only entered into conversations that you just identified, but it doesn't like to go public until everyone has an opportunity to vote and decide. I will simply say then that what we have, or what you have said, is something that is really being discussed. Again, marketing committee, persons who are certain strategic positions on the board, they're entering into those conversations. But we can't, at this point, say anything public about what we're doing until the board deliberates further on that, on those matters, I should say.
And then anything particularly special, anything different as far as the 2020
There's a lot of excitement. There's a lot of excitement. The board meets once a month. I'll make it very simple. The board meets once a month. The group met last Tuesday, and I believe that we are going to have a meeting prior to the month of April because of the nature of what we're doing. And yes, there will be a lot of exciting things that we want to incorporate. And I'll tell you this, if you look at the way how cricket is being played in Barbados on weekends, we have to be able to package it now that gets just not the club supporters at the game. We want to get people who are really wanting to follow. The friends and family members need to come back with the cricket. I remember when I had the opportunity to play at a particular club. I'll mention it. I played at Spartan Cricket Club when I was 19 years old. At your practice session, and this was about 20 years ago, a practice session, you will have sometimes 50 to 100 people watching your practice session. The late Mark Levine, who was a supremely fit player, would take us through the different drills, and people would stay there until a 2-hour practice session is finished. When the game came, you can get 500 to 700 people at Queen's Park watching a game in a local competition.
Philip, I don't want to say this because I want to upstage Stephen, but because it is true. I had similar experience playing for YMPC. He said 20 years ago, 40 years ago. And turning up to a practice session one afternoon. And on my way into the ground, I saw this collection of cars, and I passed through St. Paul's churchyard. There was not funeral in the church, but there was this number of cars, and I couldn't understand where all these people. When I got to Becker's Road to the YMPC ground, a few hundred people had gathered. Collis King and Joel Garner had returned from England to practice. This was a practice session in the evening, and so I could well understand what Stephen is talking about, and I've always yearned and wished for those days again.
And I'm happy being said it, because right now for us to get 500 people at a ground, it really would have to be a playoff game in the final, and that is what we want to build now for club games, league matches, that interest.
Or really Brian Lara type figure turning up.
When he went to the Maple ground.
And in fact, even before that, if you go back as far as Jeff Douillon, you would have thought it was a test match.
Yes.
But the thing is, do we have those, and you don't necessarily have to answer this, but do we have those iconic figures now playing in the West Indies team that would bring people out if they were going to be flocking to, if they were going to be playing for one of the local clubs?
In modern day, media is about how you package it. It may not be the similar quality,
Yeah.
but it's how you sell it. And I believe that's critical to everything.
Before we go though, we can't let you go without maybe getting a bit nosy, getting into your business a bit. We didn't want to get into your pocket, but we're going to get into your business because you've been with the BCA now as director for going on some almost 5 years now. Yeah. How has it been for you?
Yep, I joined in November of 2015. It's been an exciting journey. Where it came from prior to being at the BCA, you will be aware that I spent some 20 years at the university.
20 years?
Yeah, I reached 20 years there. And I was in a background of sports before being asked to work in a background specifically for cricket.
Okay.
So people got to know Stephen Leslie as the person who works with cricket at UWI, maybe for about 12 of those 20 years. And then transitioning now at the national level here at the BCA has been extremely intriguing. And I'll give you one simple example. When the board of directors have to deliberate, originally there were 14 members. It was reduced to 9 members in recent years. You've got to win the thoughts of those 9 members. You can have the most fantastic idea. If you're not able to sell it, if you're not able to encourage them to think that is going to be part of a developmental path, you're not at that point going to get the endorsement that you need. So my experience at Kensington Oval, I believe strongly will not only prepare cricket in Barbados and the skills that I would have to be able to display with the support of the board, but it really shows you the differences in how you can really develop as an individual, as a professional. And Conde Riley, as our president, he has a group of persons with different skills who serve as board members. We've got a female in Miss Betty Lewis, who currently manages the West Indies women's team. She brings her quality to it. He's got a vice president in Calvin Hope and many others who actually have a lot of ideas that they wish to incorporate into the cricket. So what we have is a group, and we're hoping that the experience that I bring, the experience that they have, will be able to have a package that is beneficial to Barbados cricket.
And of course, you would have picked up some of these skills, I would imagine, in your previous assignment.
Yeah, certainly. I had the opportunity to work with regional first class side, known as the Combined Campuses and Colleges cricket team. The joy that you get from seeing players coming from a student athlete within the Caribbean, because that was the scope of the university program. It was not just Barbadian cricketers. We've got people who got their university degrees, they got to play first class cricket, and some of them went on to play international cricket. And that is one of the things that I was most pleased about. And what I'm having the opportunity to do now is to work with the Barbadian context, those young boys, those young girls, those women and men, to be able to realize their dreams. And it's really been an exciting journey.
And Philip, talk about your deep pockets, and obviously we know that you don't do what you do for charity, but I would still want to know, what gives you the greatest satisfaction?
Being able to sit at home or to be at the stadium and seeing someone like a Jason Holder, for example, who at one point was not able to make it into our national side and was in that university project. He played, I think, a Super 50 back about 5 or 6 years, could be a little bit more than that, for the CCC. Being able to see him going from can't make his national side, playing for the Combined Campuses team, to emerging as a West Indies international cricketer, number 1 all-rounder, that's where my greatest satisfaction comes.
You know, I remember many years ago you talked about your experience playing for Spartan, but I think we go even further back than that. I remember turning up to games and seeing this very confident, sometimes even overconfident youngster. Cocky, that's the word. Cocky youngster. So you knew him back then as well. You know,
No, I was just choosing a word for you.
Oh, I see. Okay, I thought I had some support there. But this cocky youngster in his pads waiting to go into bat, and some days went well, some didn't. I remember you going through some lean periods, and I would run into you, and we would have a bit of a chat. And I was always impressed with the manner in which you carried yourself, and I always felt to encourage you. But what I really want to get to really is not so much a question as a comment, because I think it shows the importance really of dealing with young sports people, recognizing that some will go on to represent their country, the West Indies, some will go on to maybe even national heroes in the future. But out of those young sportsmen and women, you're going to get administrators, you're going to get umpires, you're going to get coaches, you're going to get all sorts of people, you're going to get fans. And therefore, it's so important to really treasure that group so that you don't necessarily think that everyone you coach or everyone who's in your program is going to be the next Brian Lara?
And I would just add this. I've never played national cricket at the senior level for Barbados. They were for the junior level, there was like a select Barbados team that I played part of, not an official West Indies Cricket Board tournament. And being afforded the opportunity when it was provided to be the first director of cricket in Barbados with the rich legacy that we have from Sir Gary right down to we say Jason Holder and now Shea Holt. I take it as an honor and a privilege, and I go to work every day with a passion and an understanding that I've got a very huge burden. I use the word burden deliberately. I use the word a huge privilege. When you mix all those things from the two extremes together, because it's a heavy load, and you're doing it skillfully and expertly. I've got a staff and a team there of some young ladies, Miss Lorianne Nally, Nicola Graves, Danielle Small, and we have Stephen Proverbs. These are people who I really hope will continue doing the great work that they do.
Wayne, of course, I'm sure would want the last word. He doesn't normally bat last, but in this case, I think he will.
Well, just looking forward to the new season, particularly the new 2020 franchise tournament. I think 2020 is basically the future. And when I say the future, I mean the commercial future of cricket. There is always the need for the other formats to build and to hone your skills and whatever. But it is very interesting and keen to know that what we're seeing here, what Stephen and the BCA are proposing, is just the beginning. And I look forward to this project going from strength to strength.
Well, Stephen, you've been in it for almost 5 years, and I think there are many who would show great appreciation for what you've done. Well done so far. And we look forward to more from you and the BCA.
Thank you for having me, and I would wish to have the support of not only you two gentlemen, but the wider part of Barbados as we embark upon this important project and having hopefully a 2020 season that is enjoyable for everybody.
You heard from Stephen Leslie. We'll be right back on Anything Cricket. Let's talk.
Carib Vision is now included in the OneSpot Media subscription package. It's simple. Search for onespotmedia.com, then log in, scroll over to the Live TV and Radio tab, and select CVTV from the drop-down menu, and watch the latest in Caribbean culture, news, and sports. It's that simple. Carib Vision is now on OneSpot Media. Subscribe today.
onespotmedia.com.
That's our show. Thanks for watching. Special thanks to DA Computer Services and to the Caribbean Media Corporation. Join us again soon for another episode of Anything Cricket. Let's talk.